Hey folks, it's Nate. Thanks for joining me at the art table again today. I've been talking a lot lately about storytelling theory, and that's all well and good. That's a subject I really enjoy. However, the fact is, if you cannot find an audience for your story, you cannot tell a story. It being one of my basic theories that a series of events cannot become a story until they are passed from one person to another. So today I wanted to talk about IronAge.Media, a new website that has been around since the end of August. What we are seeing here is the opening splash page that you hit when you come to IronAge.Media. It's a handsome page with a lovely color scheme that is easy on the eyes and draws a lot of interest to the main things. Now we're going to talk about each of these pages in some detail a little bit later, but right now I just wanted to point out why I think this place is important and a good place to follow. Genre magazines have always been a good way for authors to keep their finger on the pulse of the public and figure out what kind of stories they're really anxious for. They were also a great way to get some feedback and to test your wings, making submissions that would then help you to build an audience. Most of these magazines are gone in the West, or at least in the United States. Those that still exist do not draw much of a general audience. They primarily draw other writers in a given genre who are interested in doing this kind of work. What sets IronAge.Media apart is that it is built by a fan and seems to be primarily aimed at people who are fans of genre fiction and are looking for new opportunities to get involved in it. However, if you are looking to be a storyteller, then IronAge.Media also presents a number of unique opportunities to you, which I'm going to talk about as we go on. But let me start by saying right off the bat that IronAge.Media is not a literary site. It is not primarily focused on the exploration of fiction as such. It is more of a news site, a clearinghouse of information about genre storytelling in the pulp mold. Like most things using the Iron Age term, IronAge.Media is primarily interested in independent works. That is to say, people who are creating their own stories independent of any pre-existing franchise or promotional framework. With one notable exception being Will Jordan's Dark Harvest novel, which is in fact published through a standard traditional publishing house. That said, independent media is a pretty broad clearinghouse, and as we can see just by looking at the kinds of articles published here, IronAge.Media is covering a very broad base. So far, the website offers 200 to 300 word summaries of various kinds of art, ranging from novels to comics to RPG systems and even music. While these very brief blurbs are not enough to really dig deeply into what these stories are about, that is not really the primary purpose of these spotlights. The idea is to give readers an idea of what is out there and then point them towards places they can learn more. That's very useful if you are a reader looking for more stories, but it's also very useful if you are a writer trying to network with other writers working in your genre, trying to get a lay of the land. Yes, IronAge.Media is not going to give you the lay of the land on their own, but they do serve as a handy guidepost for figuring out what is where. If I had one complaint to make, it's that I don't really see anything in their offerings that is strictly crime, other than perhaps the aforementioned Will Jordan novel. And crime, whether tales of mobsters or coppers chasing them down, was a big part of the first age of pulp. It's kind of disappointing not to see it here. There's a lot of fantasy, there's a lot of science fiction, and there's a little bit of horror on tap here. And it's understandable why those are the genres that pulp would really focus on in the modern era. Those genres have not changed very much in the past 100 years, whereas crime has changed a lot in the past century. It may also just be a reflection of the tastes of the publisher, which is fine. Hopefully, at some point, other people who have an interest in the crime genre will begin to make submissions to IronAge.Media and bring a little more light to that genre. because it would be a shame if that was left entirely in the hands of the big publishing houses. I just don't think they do a very good job with it these days, in most cases. Now, if you are a writer looking to build an audience, prompts are going to be gold for you. Here, the publisher offers you a brief image as a prompt and challenges you to tell a story about it. This kind of thing has been fairly common throughout the history of writing. Authors who write and submit something can be entered into the database of submissions for that particular prompt. At the end of the month, there will be a vote taken to determine the most popular story from the prompts of that month, and the editor will also choose one to feature as well. These are the featured stories we saw at the top of the page when you first land at IronAge.Media. So, not only do you have the opportunity to showcase your work under the prompt, you also have the chance to be featured on the front page of the website. Very exciting stuff. While many of the early prompts only got 1 or 2 submissions, the most recently completed prompt got a total of 7 submissions, which is pretty impressive when you consider that the website had only really existed for 2 months when it closed. IronAge.Media is also beginning to take artistic submissions, that is, visual images. So if that's something that you are good at, you also have an opportunity to submit there. Although, unfortunately, because of some kind of technical snafu, the visual prompts have not yet appeared on this page. I am told that there is a version that was supposed to have that just didn't get rolled out over the weekend, so hopefully we'll see that in the very near future. Another minor gripe I have for this particular page is that the voting for the monthly contest is not readily accessible from this page. You actually have to go over to the news page to find that, which seems like something of an oversight to me. I would have a link to it here on this page as well. If any of the Iron Age folks happen to see this, maybe you could pass that on. The Circles page is where you can find other work by people who have submitted articles to IronAge.Media. At least I believe that's what it is. It's not entirely clear from the information on the website what the purpose of this website is, but that is my interpretation based on poking through it for a couple of minutes. This is another place where a little more information would be useful, but I'm pretty confident that it is intended as a clearinghouse of information on the writers who have submitted to the site. And that is also very useful if you are looking to network. Just by looking at the kinds of articles written, you can see who shares your interest in terms of media and genre. And then you can go to their websites and learn a little bit more about them and maybe even begin to build a rapport. Finally, the news page has the publishing schedule for the website and summarizes some of the most recent announcements, including the aforementioned polls for the prompt submissions. I kind of feel like this particular part of the website would do better as maybe a ticker running along the bottom or a side panel on the main landing page. But all in all, the information here is still useful. It just takes a little more digging than I would like. I think the biggest oversight is having all of the media appearances by the editor squirreled away in this part of the website. I would much rather have this as part of the articles feed on the splash page rather than having to dig to this part of the website to find it. I'm sure anyone looking to offer submissions to IronAge.Media would really benefit from looking at some of this material and getting a sense of both the writing style and the editorial goals of the owner of IronAge.Media before they submit. That kind of thing is a very important part of writing for other people. Still, while I think this website has its flaws, as I said before, I think it offers a lot of valuable opportunities to both audiences and writers looking to close the story circle and begin to tell some good, fun adventure stories in the modern era, something that we badly need. If that's something you hope to do, I encourage you to check it out, and I know that I will be haunting this page for a while to come. In the meantime, let me know what you think of IronAge.Media down in the comments below. There's a like button and a subscribe button down there. You can use those as you see fit, and I'll talk to you later.